Okay, so one of the things as we start working with this, we want to make sure we get everything set up in the MLA format. Your chapter in the book that we covered, we showed you how to create a research paper, a grader project, and we have a simulation that we went through. So hopefully you remember most of that. So I'm here to kind of point you in the right direction on a couple things. There's things that we want to make sure we see, like all your fonts going to be Times New Roman, 12 points, 1.5 times when it comes to spacing and line height and so forth. But one of the things that most students won't do or really completely understand is the citations and referencing part. So the first thing I want you to think about is go to the end, the last line in your paragraph, your intro. You got to insert a page break. Don't use returns or enter key to force to a new page. You got to insert a page break because your citations has to appear on the top of the next page. So this is where you go up to insert, pages, page break. Now what will happen here is this will be, you will type in works cited. Now if you only have one citation, then it's work cited, but most people are going to have at least two or three. Okay. Um, as I'm looking here, I'm going to make sure it's Times New Roman 12. Typically, what we'll do is, I'll press my enter key and come back in. We'll center align this. Okay, and then I'm want to work with my citations. Typically, when you're writing your paper, it's better if you put your citations in, find a couple of resources, and put them into your Word document already. So that way you can use it for footnotes or endnotes and so forth. So what we want to do is we go up to references here, and there's an option that you have up here called Citations Bibliography. We want to make sure we're doing MLA. Okay, so you got to probably choose that drop down list, and we're going to do Manage Sources first. So this is where you insert, and what's really nice about this is if you move to another class and you want to use the same type of citation, you already have it. It will remember from last time. It will be listed right here, and then all you have to do is bring it over to the right. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new one, and when I create the new source, I have all these options up here, and most likely you're either going to be doing a book or you're going to do a website. Okay, it could be based on a film, I guess, and so forth, but typically it's a book or a website. So when I choose website, I'm also going to go in and show bibliography fields down here so I can see all the fields I need to put in. And when I'm searching for a website and I'm looking for citations, I want to find one that usually has an author. If it doesn't, I try to find another article, unless it's from a school like an edu, with a going from like Columbus State edu, CCSE. But I'm looking for an author. Okay, and in this case, this one has an author, and I'm reading through it. I'm seeing, okay, it's legitimate. And then the other thing I want to take a look at is there a publication date. Now it looks like it's been copyrighted about 2014, and so it's a little bit outdated because there's new information, especially on computers. So that's something you have to think about. Um, he did update it on September 2nd, 2019. So what's good about this is this author is aware of the changes, so he goes in and updates his earlier articles. So that's a good thing. So up there is what we're looking for. So I'm going to come back in, and we got, yeah, Alfred. So in this case, I'm going to put the author's name right up here, and typically I should take this back. We usually put the last name first, then the first name. So I'm going to go in and put that there, and it sorts it accordingly by last name with your citations and so forth. This one doesn't have multiple authors. There's different ways of doing multiple authors. Now, what students mostly do wrong here is the name of the web page. They typically will put the URL. That is not the URL, the name of the web page. The name of the web page, a little hint, If you go up to the tab of your browser, it's going to tell you what the name of the web page is. In this case, it's the 4 categories of the computer hardware. And some people put the turbo future in there, but it's really, this is the name of the web page. Okay, so I can copy that over, paste it in there. Okay, year, month, and day. That is the publication date. So we know it's September 2nd, 2019. 2019, September. Okay, and then important aspect is when did you access it, because that's going to make relative, so that way you actually looked at it. You didn't look at it like 5 years ago. So you put in today's date. So whatever the today's date is, okay. Now I like to have the URL in here, so you notice it doesn't have the red asterisk to it, but for us it's nice to know the URL because I need to know where to go and find. So I just come up here and I copy this URL and I paste it in here. Okay, and then Medium online, and that's about it. And when I click OK, so it's going to add it right here, and it also puts it over here in this list. Okay, now when I look at this and I start looking, I also have like our book in here. So let me click on the edit button here so I can show you this. So your textbook is considered more like a textbook, so I usually include it as a book. And you know what happens with this, we have a few things we have to look for, and usually it's the inside pages and that. And one thing is this book has multiple authors. So what I have to do is I have to put in the name of the main author, and since it has more than 3, I have to put a comma and I have to type in ET space AL period, which means there's multiple authors. And so here I need to see what the copyright is. I have to see the publisher. You know, I put in the 3rd edition because that's important. There's multiple editions of this book, and the medium's online. So it's a textbook that you are reading through online. And so when I bring this over, all I have to do is copy it over. See, it's already in this list and I already have it done. I don't have to worry. It brings it over. Now I'm going to click on close. This does nothing here. So what you have to do here is you got to go up to bibliography, and you got to come down to insert bibliography. Don't click on works cited, do insert bibliography, and you automatically will put in the styling and indentation the way you need to. Now when you do it the first time, and in your textbook it talks about changing your style, because it probably will come in as Calibri 11 points and we want it in Times New Roman 12. So just remember, select any of your citations, doesn't matter which, go to your home tab, there's a style section here, and you'll see it say bibliography. When you click on this little arrow pointing down to the right, and you want to make sure it says bibliography here. So what I'm going to do, you're going to click on this drop down list, you're going to choose modify. Okay, and really what you want to do is you want to make sure this says Times New Roman 12 points. Not the only thing you need to do. You got to go to format, click on paragraph. Okay, you're going to set the spacing. It'll probably have 8 points after. You need to change that to 0, and you change line spacing to double. Okay, and typically sometimes what we'll do is we'll do the special hanging indent so it automatically hangs correctly. Now by default, what the whole chapter in the book, when you did your simulation and you did your gritter project, it had you change the style. And the reason is because the default style for Word for these different settings didn't match what we wanted. Okay, so you have to go in, and what happens is if you don't update your style, then every time you insert a new bibliography, it will always go back to the old styling. So you got to make sure you do that after you insert your bibliography. A good thing is that when you add another citation, If I go to manage sources and let's say I bring over another style or another citation, so we'll just take this one, copy it over. I'll click on close. Now the problem is, as you can see here, it doesn't update. Okay, so you have to insert it again to adjust it accordingly. Um, and again, it would be simply going up to Bibliography and choosing this option here. Now you have to go in. One of the things that you can either do is you can either delete what's there and then just go up to Bibliography and choose Insert, and then you get the third link in here as well. That might be the best way.